Hi guys, my name is Imogen and I've had the Vuly Ultra 2 Pro for about 3 months now, and I want to show you what it's actually like day to day. So I got the XL model, which is the largest one that you can get in the Ultra 2 Pro, and I got this because we've got a lot of friends' kids coming over. I wanted to make sure that both my partner and I and our kids could all jump on it together at the same time and not feel like we were trapped for room. Something that was important to me in a trampoline was that it was big enough for the whole family but also fit really well in our backyard, and we definitely had enough room for the XL. If you have a smaller backyard, it is a very large trampoline, so I would consider some of the smaller sizes, but the XL works perfectly for our space and our family. As for the trampoline itself, we use it almost every single afternoon. I was a little bit worried that the novelty would wear off after the first couple of weeks, but honestly, every single afternoon, instead of jumping on the tablets now, they go straight outside, straight to the trampoline. If it's too hot, we put the sprinkler over it. Honestly, it's probably been one of the best investments that we've made. It's also one of those things that if any other child comes over, it's the first thing they want to jump on. They spend hours out there with the friends. Absolutely love it. So this thing arrived in a lot of boxes. I feel like it was 9 boxes overall, but that included all the accessories and every single part of the trampoline. So that's to be expected. I do have to note the boxes were incredibly heavy. Again, to be expected with a trampoline of this size, but something to note if you're trying to carry them by yourself, I would get another person to come and carry the boxes with you, or someone that is stronger, because I had to slide them along the floor and you don't want to hurt your back pulling them. Overall, the build of this trampoline took us about 6 hours. For majority of that time, there was only 2 of us, and then my partner came home from work for the last 1 to 2 hours and helped with the finalization of the trampoline. I feel like all the instructions were really clear, although we did make one big mistake, and I feel like that is my fault. I feel like I was trying to rush through it, as trampolines take a very long time to set up. It was really hot this day, but around the base, there's a rim of the base and you have to connect all the poles, and that builds the circle base. We ended up putting the poles in upside down, which means that the drainage holes were facing upwards. It says on the instructions to not do this. We ended up doing it, so we had to take it all apart. I feel like that added 1 to 2 hours more because we couldn't take it apart. It was so hard once they had all been clipped in and into a circle. To take those poles apart felt virtually impossible. There was 3 of us yanking on them, and still they just wouldn't come apart. It took so long. So definitely read the instructions very thoroughly if you're about to build this. I am a little bit concerned if we need to take this down, move house, or anything like that, because that was so hard. I don't think I ever want to do that again. The rest of the build was fine. Again, the instructions were really easy. It does take a long time, but any trampoline does. And a friend and me just ended up making a day out of it. Build quality wise, I feel like I could definitely notice a difference between this frame and other cheap frames that we've had in the past. The black powder coating is so sturdy. My kids hang off the side poles. I don't have to worry about them bending, snapping, anything like that. It is such a sturdy frame. Build quality is definitely 10 out of 10. Matte stitching and the padding feels really premium. The padding is really thick. Kids run along the outside of the trampoline on the mat. It doesn't even bend in. It's so thick, so sturdy. One thing to note, we haven't noticed now that it's being built, but while we were building the frame felt really hot. The bottom poles that go under the mat, they were lying in the sun, and when we were trying to click them together, they were really hot. Again, this isn't something I've noted now that we've built the trampoline. I don't know if it's either because those poles are hidden under the mat so they're not as hot anymore, or if we're just not touching those poles. You climb up the ladder to get into the trampoline and then you're on the trampoline. But yeah, something to note. In terms of durability, I am so impressed. We've had so many people come over and jump on the trampoline. We've had 4 adults on a time jump on the trampoline. We have absolutely no tears, no rips, no nothing, other than it still looking completely brand new, and we have thrashed this trampoline. So I'm so impressed with the quality and the durability of this trampoline. 10 out of 10. The feet sit evenly on the grass. Our last trampoline ended up sinking into the grass. We've had massive rain here. We've had hail, and the feet perfectly on the grass. I do love that. Delivery was also super quick. It came within a week. That was such a nice surprise too. Only thing I do differently is honestly just reading the instructions more clearly. Again, they make it so clear. It was just user error. I just wanted the trampoline up. I was so excited for it. Thought I knew what I was doing. It didn't take time to check that the pieces were the right way round. And yes, so definitely if I was to do it again, I would read the instructions more clearly. But overall, I'm really happy with the build, sturdy, quality, everything. I'm an emergency nurse, and one of the biggest selling points of this trampoline for me was the safety features. When I'm buying anything for my kids, that is the #1 priority. I've seen it all, I've heard it all, so I like to make sure that anything I'm buying my kids is the top of the line safety aspect, especially something like a trampoline, and the Vuly Ultra 2 Pro did absolutely checked every single box for me. The self-closing door is #1. It is so good. I've had other trampolines in the past. The zip would either get stuck, the zip would break, or the kids would forget to zip it up, so I love the self-closing door. I don't need to worry about anyone falling out of the trampoline. The kids have fallen on the self-closing door so many times and it has never shot them through it. That was one thing that I was worried when it came. I was like, oh, but what if they can slip through? They can't. They won't. They can't. We've tested it out so many times. It is so safe. I also love that the net joins directly onto the mat, so there is no gaps that the kids' fingers or toes could get stuck in any of the springs. They can't fall through. Again, we've tested it out 10 million times. I also love that the padding completely goes over and around the spring. The kids run around the outside of the trampoline. The kids slide their hand along the outside. There is no springs, no fingers, no toes getting caught. That's amazing. The outside poles have really good amount of flex. When the kids bounce into the net, it really absorbs all that shock and the pressure and just kind of bounces them back off rather than feeling rigid and smashing into the side of it. So again, really love the absorbency of shock on those poles. It also meets the Australian trampoline safety standard, which not all trampolines sold on the market does. So again, that's a big tick, big win for us. Okay, now talking about the bounce, this thing is so smooth. It's got this dual layer spring system, so no matter where the kids jump on the mat, it bounces the same. It's not like harder on the outside and softer in the middle. It is so even along the whole side, which we love. So if the kids are on either side and we're on either side, I could be jumping really hard on one side and I'm not sending my 4-year-old flying on the other side. I really love that about the mat, but it's bouncy enough that if we want to play a game of crack the egg and you're sitting in the middle, we can bounce her higher. But yeah, love the mat. I love the alternating high and low coil connections. You can honestly feel the difference of it all. For my little one, it's really soft and controlled. She can bounce on it. She's not getting flown everywhere. But then for my oldest, it's really strong and powerful. So you choose the amount of strength that you want in the bounce. And I feel like the trampoline mat does just that. I also love that there is no noise. I cannot hear when the kids are outside jumping on the trampoline other than them laughing and playing and having fun. But the trampoline itself, there's no springy sounds, no clunking, which our other cheaper trampoline was so loud. You can hear the springs every time it's bouncing. This one is silent. The self-closing door makes it really easy for the kids to get in and out, and you add the ladder in and they're totally able to do it completely by themselves, which I love. Our last trampoline, again, we had to lift them up onto the trampoline. We had to zip the zip down. It was so much more work for us. Whereas now if they want to go on the trampoline, we open the back door, they're in. As for accessories, we ended up getting the shade cover, the basketball hoop, and the ladder. I think that the ladder was definitely a must as the trampoline is quite high off the ground. I feel like younger kids might struggle to get up onto it if you don't have the ladder. I also think that the shade cover was a 100% need. We had a previous trampoline, it didn't have any shade cover on it, and it was just too hot in Australian summer to be jumping on this black trampoline with no shade cover. So definitely think that if you're buying a trampoline and you live in Australia where it gets quite hot, shade cover is a must. One thing I actually love about the Ultra 2 Pro is that you can use the shade cover and the basketball hoop at the same time. You couldn't do that with previous models of the Ultra 2, but with this one, the basketball hoop has 2 settings. So it's a high setting or a low setting, and the low setting is designed for the shade cover to be on top as well. So I do love that. And there's enough room between the shade cover and the basketball hoop that they can still throw the ball in. Works totally fine. I also love the basketball hoop. My son loves it. It was definitely a really good investment. One thing I do have to note about the basketball hoop is that the netting has a Velcro strap around the hoop, and that's what keeps the hoop on it. That comes off really easily. So even a couple of times throwing the ball in, it doesn't really sit perfectly well. So I do think that they potentially could have made the basketball hoop a bit better, but I do love the basketball hoop itself. You could also just get rid of the netting and then it's just the metal hoop. Things that I love the most about the trampoline, number one would be the self-closing door. Again, our old trampoline had a zip, and I feel like the self-closing door just makes me feel so much better, especially when the kids are out playing on the trampoline by themselves. I don't have to worry or keep yelling at them to remember to zip it up. The kids have fallen onto the self-closing door quite a few times and they don't slip out. That was something that I was worried about when I first saw it, but it's really secure, it's really safe. I love that build. I love the bounce of it. I also really love the mat and spring aspect of it because I don't have to worry about any pinched fingers. It's completely safe. My son has jumped right on the corner. His feet and hands are nowhere near the springs. It's a really safe build of trampoline. Lastly, the printed game mat. I didn't realize how much fun we would have with the printed game mat. I didn't even think about it. It wasn't even a reason that we chose that trampoline in the first place, but we have come up with, I want to say probably about 100 variants of different games that you can play just with the printed game mat. And it's something that I didn't even consider or didn't even worry about when buying the trampoline. It wasn't a selling point for me, but it definitely is something that I would say to someone else. The printed game mat makes a whole new array of games that you wouldn't even think that you could play. It lets the kids' imagination run wild, making up games with all these little faces and characters on the mat. For this trampoline, I have one downside, and that's the weight. It is so heavy. Again, we did get the XL version. It's the biggest one you can get. So understandably, with the build quality, it's very heavy. So when mowing, we actually can't lift it and move it. If we attempt, my partner and I can, but we kind of drag it and it kind of rips up the grass a bit. My partner and I have ended up just whippersnippering under it. We can't get the mower under it. It's too hard to move it to mow to then move it back. Honestly, we just whippersnipper the hole underneath, and that's worked out fine for us. I have to note, Vuly did mention that they're working on adding wheels to the newer models, so that would be a total game changer, and I have to say I would be buying them instantly. That is the one downside that I will note about the XL. I also think that that's the trade-off for getting something so big and also so sturdy, because the quality is so good. Obviously, it ends up quite a lot heavier. Overall, I love the Vuly Ultra 2 Pro. I feel like it's been a really good investment for our family. It's safe. I feel like it's built to last. I feel like this trampoline will last the kids' entire childhood. And would I buy it again? Absolutely.